Hi, everybody, and welcome to the judges' deliberation for the Veezoo Analytics Cup. In this next few minutes or 20 minutes or so, we're going to talk through the finalists and decide the winner of the 2026 Veezoo Analytics Cup, who gets the big goal and the big prize. My name is Andy Cotgreave. I'm co-founder of How to Speak Data, author of books on dashboards, and it's a great pleasure to have been involved in the project. Stefan, do you want to say hello?
Yeah, hi, nice to meet you. Happy to be here. My name is Stefan. I am doing sports analytics for a professional football club, FC St. Pauli, and so that's why I hope I can contribute here as well. And I also know Veezoo from my other professional life, currently a CTO at a startup company in sports technology. Yeah, so great to be here.
Fantastic. And JP?
Well, pleasure to be here. I'm JP. I'm one of the co-founders of Veezoo, CTO, responsible for development of the product, and I'm excited to see the submissions of the candidates here for the Analytics Cup.
Yeah, well, great. Well, before we look at each of the three contestants, for the Analytics Cup, we gave any entrant access to a really deep and wide and long data set of World Cup data: players, matches, referees, bookings, venues. It was huge. So really complex knowledge graph all put into Veezoo, through which you can query it with natural language. But we asked contestants to fulfill a brief to help broadcast teams tell stories about the matches that were going on any given day during the World Cup. You know, trivia points, trends, face-to-face matchups, and things like that. And I think the three of us would agree the entries were really strong, right? Yeah, indeed. So thank you to everybody who entered. We're going to go through the three finalists and break down some of the things we loved about each of those. And then we're going to choose a winner, which isn't going to be easy, but let's have a go. All right, I'll share my screen first. And we're going to start with Dima, who created the Yarmelin wire. So Dima Yarmelin. He created this, the Yarmelin wire, inspired by the Athletic. So he took a very particular inspiration from the Athletic magazine and the Economist. He nested a whole bunch of agents to create different packs and desks, different packs that each part of a broadcast team might want. So we can get a pre-match, manager intelligence, or such. So in fact, if we click into one of those, let's go to the pre-match pack, which is here. So we click on here, and then we get Brazil versus Germany. Yes.
It's already a big red flag. I wouldn't have chosen this.
What a game.
Well, it depends. I think it's a big green flag.
It was that was quite an event. A friend of mine went to the bar to get us a drink, and when he came back, 5 goals had been scored. It was incredible. But what we're seeing here basically is a head-to-head matchup. So you can choose any two teams that are playing, England v Croatia, for example, and get a big history, along with, what would you say if you were a broadcaster? So this is essentially the kind of approach Dima took. He also built some really fantastic interactive visualizations as well. For example, this one on refereeing as well. So we're seeing the versatility of Veezoo, and great design and data storytelling. Congratulations, Dima. JP, any comments or anything else you want to highlight?
Well, I thought it was very interesting, the selection of agents, right, with these different packs, right, desks, and anomaly desk, the pre-match pack, and it was a very interesting use of Veezoo, I think, and I like the inspiration as well for the layout.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. What about you, Stefan?
Yeah, first of all, I think it's a really outstanding example here. Can you maybe go to the referee chart, because that's something I particularly like. And when you follow the World Cup, so there have been a lot of discussions about the refereeing quality and so on. So I think these types of visualizations really help exploring things like fairness and how the competition is actually doing. And yeah, so I think it's really, on the one hand, really useful, very, very compact design as well, very readable. So I think, yeah, a lot of great things. Obviously, also like the Brazil-German reference, because I still remember the 2002 World Cup final where obviously Brazil took the cup. So yeah, it goes both ways, and I think, yeah, it's great.
Indeed.
Great to see this.
We obviously can't let national preferences and memories of pain influence our decisions when those matches are surfaced. Right? And there's great use of agents as well in here, so we can go and look. Dima spent a lot of time researching and honing in on these agents. I think this is one of the powers of Veezoo. It's really easy to create these agents and then hone them as well. So great mix of agentic usage and design skills. All right. Well done, Dima. Should we move on?
Yep.
Let's do it. Well, our next finalist, drumroll, is Oliver Yang. And again, another really good approach, but doing something different to Dima as well. And we saw this across so many of the entries. What Oliver did is think about different storylines. So what we're seeing here, we've got cynics, historians, tacticians, romantics, ultras, and oracles. What each one of these is a separate, distinct Veezoo agent which interrogates the data with a particular editorial spin on it. And if you think about punditry in any sport TV coverage, that's fantastic. Your favorite gnarly old football player who's a pundit might speak differently to the young ex-striker who's just left their team and has totally different views. And what we see in all the agents and canvases that Oliver built is these agents coming to life. So in the match dossier agent, for example, we've got the cynic saying, look, here's the factual data of England v Argentina. The historian will show the actual game results, so we can scroll across and see those. Tactician has one story, and then the different storytellers actually bring stories to life driven by data. I mean, this is perfect for a broadcast desk. As you can see, there's great design skills in here. And what Oliver's done is really bring forwards what do you say if you're a broadcaster? One of the other canvases, he's done canvases designed for the morning, when you're waking up to do, and then for during the day and at the end of the day as well. So really thinking about time of day for the broadcasts. And then one final canvas, which I think is really interesting, is he's actually done a real, it's like an academic paper describing how this whole system was built and how the agents work. So really good, deep result, considering nested agents within Veezoo and how they can all be nested and called together and in sequence. So powerful, powerful stuff. Congratulations on reaching the final, Oliver. Stefan, what did you think of this one?
Yeah, so first of all, I really like the different personas that are portrayed here, because I can tell you from my job in sports is not only to analyze the data, but obviously also to convey the results, to explain things, but more importantly, transport the relevant information for the audience. Yeah, so and you can imagine each role in the club also is different. So if I communicate to the coach or to the sporting director, it's a very different conversation we're having, or whether you look at match analysis versus scouting. And so, but here I really like the because data doesn't speak for itself. Data needs something to a medium to be transported, like the insights in the data. And here, these agentic setups really nice. I also like the idea of this consensus versus debate. Yeah, so because there's always an agreement level, like most people agree on, and to split this up. So I think it's a really nice way of setting the stage. So here's what we agree upon, and here's where the debate can start. And let's have a really nice debate on these things. So I think very, very interesting, different angles. Very nicely also the data portrayed here. Yeah, I like it a lot, and also the explanation at the end. It's
it's great. I mean, it's true in any business environment, right? We can agree on the data, but we can still bring our hunches into it. But Stefan, as a footballer, that any argument we have in the pub, we can bring all the data to whether Messi is better than Ronaldo or not. But that is not going to end the argument, is it, at all?
Yeah, and often in there's simply no real like winning the argument. Obviously, you have a point and I have a point, right? And then it's something. Yeah, but because there's not this a single measure, that you can just apply, and then this player is better than the other, or that there's always different perspectives, and in the end, it's human decision making, human judgment with what you make out of it, whether you like to agree on something or whether you like this player more than the other. It's a game also about probabilities, and I think that's also nicely portrayed here, right? It's not about binary, like obviously the result typically is either someone wins, someone loses, but the match itself is a lot about the statistics, about the nuances, and displaying that in such a nice way. Really cool.
I just sorry, JP, I'll come to you in a minute. Each of these agents is honed to be that. I mean, and I think the business applicability here is really good, right? Because you could build these to your business data. Look at this data cynically. Look at this super optimistically, right? Like the CFO and the CEO, perhaps, right? You can choose who would be each one yourselves. But I think that's a really clever thing. And then, and then the answers come, and you will have reactions to those, right? So you can give the agency, you can give the agent agency, but then you still have the human agency to disagree, right? I think it's great. Sorry, JP, any comments?
Yeah. So what I particularly liked about his submission is really, I mean, I'm a technical person, so I saw the technical aspect behind it of one that is playing around with this idea of multi-agent and each agent having a specific persona, and I think that's a very powerful idea. I think also in general for other applications in data analysis, and here applied to the Analytics Cup. But of this, what if we have all these different perspectives? We let them run, let them explore the data. They can discuss among each other afterwards, right? And then let's get to a bigger than of the parts, right? And I think that's it's a paradigm that technically is going to be more and more explored as these systems become faster and more intelligent, right? That just a single agent will not be able to match, right? And I think that's quite interesting. And I was also playing around with the Canvas Builder agent. Maybe we can give it a try. Maybe in the session.
This one.
Yeah. And I thought this was also we don't need to go through the whole process, right? But it's using canvases in a way to gather insight, gather feedback from the end user, right? So it's here allowing you to choose which one would you like to generate now. Is it the morning pitch? Is it the match dossier, right? And or is it going to be the tournament polls, right? So it's generating the UI on the fly. So let's pick one.
Let's go match dossier.
Yeah. Right. So then, okay, what's the next step? Oh, build a match dossier canvas, right? And it knows what this match dossier canvas is about, and then the next thing is going to ask you is like, okay, which teams should I select, right? So it's taking the user really by the hand. Maybe, exactly. So maybe
who's playing tonight? Oh, what's the big game going to be that's coming up?
I know that Brazil is playing against Scotland for the last.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah.
So let's see.
Just while this is building, just explain the difference between a canvas and an agent and the various things beyond just talking to your data Veezoo has.
Exactly. So an agent, right, is a set of instructions. It's kind of like a skill in Claude, right, where you have how you would like Veezoo to behave and which steps to follow, right? And a canvas is more from the visual aspect, from the UI aspect, is a way to create the final report, is a way to allow the user to interact with the system. So it's really about generative UI. That's how we say it. It's about generating the right UI, the best UI for the end user in Veezoo for the analytical purposes, right? So for doing analysis, for creating interactive reports, for creating briefings, and so on, right? So an agent can use a canvas to gather input from the user, and it can also use the canvas to create the final output, right? And yeah, so now it's going to do all the steps here, explore the data from different angles, and generate one of those canvases there, right? Outputs. And here you see a very interesting match dossier. Brazil had never lost to Scotland, and I think let's hope it stays that way. Right?
Well, I beg to differ. I'm amazed they've met 4 times, actually.
Yeah, it's
because Scotland don't get in the World Cup very often. But
98, 90, 82.
yeah, so Scotland have drawn once.
Group stage, yeah.
Yeah, then it's focusing. Yeah, so I just love the way these stories are or these agents are customized. You know, the romantic will focus on an individual, and so on. So yeah, excellent stuff. We're looking here at a side panel as well, so these canvases can be shown in line with the threads or as a side panel as well, and they can be shared in an organization, right, JP?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, I think anything else to say on Oliver's entry, or should we move on?
No, I think it speaks for itself.
Indeed. All right. Well,
really cool. Yeah.
Congratulations, Oliver. Now let's move on to our final finalist. And our third and final finalist is Stelios Chiotis. Congratulations, Stelios. Another great result. Totally hits the brief as well. If I was in football broadcasting, I could dream. Like the other two, this would really help with the daily challenge of finding interesting things to talk about. So what Stelios focused on was very much a head-to-head briefing. So let's imagine it's Argentina v France. And that's a feasible final, isn't it? I don't know if they're in the same bracket, but that could happen. So we get a match digest, which is the story of their previous World Cup appearances, very narrative focused. But in this case, we saw this one a little bit with Dima's, is we've got some really nice navigation buttons, keeping us pretty much on the same screen and minimizing scrolling around. There's a lineups view, and I love this view because I haven't looked under the hood, but how we visualize the data according to the actual on-pitch playing structure, I think is very, very good. And you can see color-coded as well, really fantastic. We get full head-to-head history, as we can drill into each of their previous appearances, see the scorers. Team stats. What I like about this is this looks like on-screen visualizations that you see during a match, right? So I think it's really nice that Stelios has sort of taken that paradigm and brought it into the canvas here. And we've got key players comparing Messi against Fontaine, for example. We got some trivia, and again, filling the brief. We got we can get some of these stories here and actually then drill into them. What I like here is that we're getting the surface details at one level, and if you want more detail, you can drill in and get that on demand. So just a really nice interface that keeps people in the same screen, minimizes scrolling, and introduces detail when you need it. So great job, Stelios. JP, what do you take from this one?
I think this is exceptional work. It's clearly you can see clearly how much effort you put into this. Very polished, right? We organize this Analytics Cup with World Cup data, but we actually haven't added any specific football component. I thought it was very nice to see that he created this lineup there with the players on the screen completely by himself. That was very nice. And one of my favorite parts as well is actually the with the trivia of the top facts. Actually, not a visualization, but I thought it was very interesting to read. And there are like 4 pages of interesting insights that he found from the data, right? And it kind of gives Veezoo this perfect combination of what would be a very thorough analysis output, and that you can then say, hey Veezoo, can you generate that the same thing for this new game that we've just. So you put all this effort, he has all these different versions, and he get to a final version, right? You see 10, 11, 12, 13 final, like when working with Excel sheets, and it's like the final. But and this final version, I think it was very happy with that, and it's like, okay, now we have this. Now use this as a template for this new match, right? It's gonna take a long time to research the data for all of this, but you know, it really specifies the angle that the user wanted to pass.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, some really good stuff. What I like about what you enabled Veezoo to bring world knowledge in as well, so it's obviously looking at the data, but it is pulling from what it knows from all its training, which, you know, I mean, in some analytics places that adds risk, but I think when the use case is relevant, it's letting the agents be agents, which is really powerful. Stefan, oh, sorry, JP.
All right, yeah, and I think one you know, just if I can add here one cool feature that we have, when you see some statement that Veezoo produced that is maybe from the training, right, from the LLMs that we're using, right? You know, let's say take from the top facts. Let's get that one from the greatest World Cup final ever, right? If you would hover, you know, if you would select all of that statement, you could you know, tell Veezoo to verify that claim, and when it do, it will actually look at the data and try to find what is in the data as evidence to back up that claim, right? And then it can annotate that. And I think it's an interesting feature. We don't say, hey, the LLM shouldn't bring world knowledge, but if you get some statement that you're like, oh, sure, maybe back that up with data. We've created the UX for that. Yeah,
that's great. Nice. Stefan, while Veezoo is having a think. Oh no! In fact, look, here we go. The claim is correct. There you go. That's good. I mean, you know, trust and AI are two words that have to go together, and we're not sure they always do. And this is a really good implementation of a route that anybody can verify and trust their data.
No, it's going and annotating.
It's redoing the thing, right? Well, we'll just go back to where we were. Stefan, what was your take on this one?
First of all, I really like the fact checking that was just showcased. So it's really cool, and like checking the facts and also separating this from the opinion, like being considered the greatest World Cup final ever. So I mean, that's obviously opinionated, but the facts, they're all correct. So I think that's a really good way of also going about it. First of all, what I really like here, it's so nice and readable. So it's very compact. There's no fluffy words, you know, so it's really condensed and compacted to have the most information. So, and to not, like, you know, there's always this you know, let's say prejudice about AI generated text that this is so, you know, it's just verbose and tries to be compelling. No, this really just tries to be like to the point and has all the relevant information. And I really like this like one sentence approach that you summarize things. Obviously, the visualization of the pitch, I didn't even know that it was possible inside of Veezoo. So it's that's very impressive because I mean, you don't expect this, let's say, from a reporting tool. You know what I mean? So that's something that is very it's very domain specific, and it's I mean, I also, like 10 years back, I spent considerable amount of time to like handcraft these kind of pitch things into whatever it was, just to make it look like you're talking about a football team. So, but these small things, they really matter. I can tell you, people are a lot more into it if you give them some, like, you know, cues to follow, right? And that's so it's not about the data all the time. It's really about like getting people into the topic and pulling them into the story. And I think that's here it's done in a very nice way, even though there is, as I said, there's not like a lot of, you know, like storytelling. You don't try to tell a story, you just present it in such a way that the story kind of comes up by itself. And that's something that I really like about this. And as you said, the navigation piece that you stay on the screen, you can just like quickly scroll around. Obviously, I'm also a huge fan of like both Argentina and France in terms of the players. It's just like has been amazing. Excellent, all of history.
That's great. All right. Well, that is our three finalists. Stelios, congratulations as well. Also to Dima and Oliver. So now the three of us have a difficult job of trying to choose one of these to take away a trophy that surely is bigger than the FIFA World Cup. someone's going to get the Veezoo Analytics trophy, and everyone wants that prize. JP, come on, you work at Veezoo. Do you want to? Why don't you start these proceedings?
Yeah,
what do you think?
It's not an easy choice, and what I think, what these three participants show is that they've used the same tool. They came with the same knowledge about the tool, and they produced all these very different kind of approaches, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not an easy thing to compare them. So what I think in terms of the agent work, I think that Oliver Young, it showed a lot of very interesting ideas there, which I think in the agentic criteria, it went very high with the multi-agent setup, right? Combining that and using the input canvas as input for the end user, creating the canvas at the outside of the canvas builder. I think that was a great use of agents. The one from Dima, I think, was particularly interesting in terms of the visualizations, right? It explored a bit more the charts, right, that you maybe didn't see that much. For instance, in the one from Stelios, right, the charts were more, more direct. They were not like, trying to visualize in very different ways, right? Which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's just a different approach. While in Stelios, it tried to put in one piece of canvas like a perfect briefing, right, for someone that is a journalist and wants to get a good picture of everything that is between Argentina and France. Here is the data, and I think that's what makes it very hard, right? They went in very different directions, so everyone should win a medal, but we only have one to give. So yeah, and I'm not sure if I'm a bit biased with my agentic hat, right? But I kind of like the work that that Oliver did. In that aspect, I think that was very creative, and also that he did a paper about it at the end. For me, my more academic background, I think that was a nice touch.
Stefan?
Yeah, so JP, I see it in very similar way. So they all kind of cater to different audiences, right? Stelios has this very compact briefing. So if you're a media narrator, you have everything like immediately at your hands, and you can tell every story you like. So the first one from Dima, it has more this nice look and feel. It's more like the reader's perspective already. So you feel like you could populate such a report, and then people could already like directly engage with it. And then Oliver's work, it's more about so having these. I also think it uses the agents in the most like complete way. Yeah, and has this also more like a bit more rounded and complete setup, so that you can do a lot more personalization and customization with it for different audiences. It has this nice like fan-oriented, let's say, style with the Sonic story. So you can bring in most of the perspectives. So I think to me, this is also the most complete of the works, but they're all massively impressive. And I mean, I've worked professionally with Veezoo, so and I know how challenging it can be to create compelling reports. So like huge congratulations to all of them, but I would also give Oliver's work a slight edge.
Interesting. So as I wrote down my notes, JP, you just called out the exact same, the three things that each one stands out on. So Dima has this brilliant mix of data storytelling, really strong design ethic with excellent nested agents, right? But I think it's just that design, story, and flow. Stelios has this brilliant compact view, don't need to add anything to that. And Oliver has done this incredible work with these 6 different agents, each with different perspectives. And my conclusion at the end of it was that Oliver also edges it, because I think that's well, I don't have anything else to add. I think you two, I agree with the both of you on Oliver Yang. So I guess that's it. We are announcing that the winner of the Veezoo Analytics Cup 2026 is Oliver Yang. Congratulations, Oliver. But all three finalists get a prize. So congratulations to you all. All right, well, that wraps up the Veezoo Analytics Cup for 2026. Stefan and JP, thank you for judging and creating such a great platform. If you want to go check out a free trial, you can do all of this yourself with your own data. Free trial is really easy to use, and you can pick Veezoo up very quickly, as we've seen. I want to say thank you to everybody who has entered. We had a great time judging all the entries. It wasn't easy to get to the final three, but once again, congratulations to Oliver for winning this year's Analytics Cup. Enjoy the rest of the FIFA World Cup, and we'll see you all sometime soon. Thanks very much. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.